Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our May Clean Pittsburgh Commission meeting. As a reminder, our commission has a mission to act as the primary resource for addressing quality of life issues in Pittsburgh's communities through waste, recycling, education, community cleanups, beautification, and ordinance enforcement. Um, I apologize. That is my phone going off. I think we can start here. Oh, here's Erin. She should be coming in. We can start like every other meeting and go around and introduce ourselves. My name is Lissa Eberhardt. I'm the program director with Allegheny Cleanways, and I am the co-chair for the Clean Pittsburgh Commission. I will popcorn over to Amiye.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amaya Quayle. I'm Sustainable Procurement Specialist with the City of Pittsburgh. I use she, her pronouns and reside in East Liberty. I will popcorn to Larson.
Hi, I'm Larson Scheller. I'm the Recycling Operations Coordinator with the Pennsylvania Resources Council and the co-treasurer for the Clean Pittsburgh Commission. I live in Bloomfield, and I will popcorn over to Helena.
Hello, everybody. My name is Helena Procopio-Ross. I'm the Environmental Enforcement Specialist for the City of Pittsburgh. I live in Brookline, and I'm in charge of all the education and recycling outreach to communities and doing all of that, and also the outreach person for the CPC here. So I will pop it over to uh, Debbie Steinberg.
Hello, Debbie Steinberg. I am Sustainability Manager with Carnegie Mellon in whatever university. I live in Squirrel Hill, and I was distracted and not sure who's left.
We can go to Anna.
Anna, popcorn Anna.
Thanks. I'm Anna Bagwell with City of Pittsburgh Environmental Services. I'm the Environmental Enforcement Coordinator, and I'm a resident of Lawrenceville, and I will pop it over to Erin.
Morning, everybody. Erin Tobin. I'm with the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy and also, I think, the District 1 rep over on the north side. I live in Spring Hill, she, her pronouns. And
We can go to our speakers.
Yeah, I think it's just River Life folks that are left.
Okay.
Crystal, would you like to introduce yourself and Pat?
Yeah, sorry about that. Pat had to take a phone call real quick. My name's Crystal Witt. I am the Community Engagement Coordinator here at River Life, and Pat is our Riverfront Operations Manager. And so he is really the person who knows about what's going on with environmental cleanup and things that are pertinent to this commission.
Very cool. Thank you very much. Great. So we'll start off go approving our previous month's minutes. Give me 1 second to pull them up here. I didn't see any hold on, my computer is choosing to be difficult. I didn't see anything come in about needing to make changes, but let's just go over. Okay. Can y'all see all this? Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, we do.
So just go through, shout out if you see anything. Wow, we had a really long meeting last month. feel like our notes aren't usually this long.
Or I took extra good notes last month.
Very impressive notes, Debbie.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. If no one sees any need for changes, can I get a, hold on, I have the words. I have my notes here. Can I get a motion to approve the April meeting minutes?
I motion to, oh, okay. I second that motion.
Thank you. All approved? Folks raise their hands. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All opposed? And any abstained? Lovely. The April meeting minutes have been approved. And then I will quickly show our agenda for today. Agenda. There we go. There we go. Here we are. Basically the same as all of our other meetings. If you see anything you'd like to adjust or add, please shout out. Otherwise, we will get on to our guest for the day. Oh, Afton's here. So this month's speakers are Crystal Witt and Pat Kelly from River Life, who are interested in becoming members of the Clean Pittsburgh Commission. River Life is a nonprofit formed in 1999 to lead a community vision for the redevelopment of Pittsburgh's downtown riverfronts. Pat and Crystal, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you like to tell us a bit more about River Life?
Yeah, that'd be great. If you don't mind, I'm going to share a screen. Crystal, do you just want to say a few general words about River Life?
I think most people are relatively familiar with River Life. Of course, we're a nonprofit organization that creates, activates, and celebrates Pittsburgh's riverfronts. And like you said, we've been operating since 1999, and we have recently initiated a care and maintenance program that Pat is going to tell us all about.
Great. Yeah. So can everyone can see the screen now? Great. Yeah. So just quickly, we are River Life. We believe Pittsburgh's rivers bring life to our region. We envision a Pittsburgh where thriving world-class riverfronts are essential to the region and belong to everyone. We create, activate, and celebrate Pittsburgh's riverfronts, connecting people through exceptional places and experiences. So that's the mission and vision of the organization. I won't read all our values here, but you can see those. But yeah, specifically today, we thought we'd give you some background on the work we're doing around building a program for riverfront care and maintenance. So first, this is our, we have a defined service area at River Life. We refer to it here as the loop that runs from the West End Bridge up to the 31st Street Bridge and over to the Hot Metal Bridge on the south side. So you can see that here. So this is going back a few years now, but River Life worked with consultants to assess the current conditions throughout the loop. So an assessment was done based on the criteria you can see on the right, connectivity, place, ecology, maintenance, and experience. And through that process, it probably won't come as a surprise to anyone to see that the segments throughout the loop have sort of varying conditions in a lot of ways. It's not a consistent experience throughout that service area. So you can see here the sort of varying ratings that those segments received. So it was coming out of this work that River Life set about the work of creating a permanent fund for care and maintenance across the loop in order to essentially create a more unified experience ultimately and close the gap between what we see as between current conditions and what we see as a sort of future ideal or envisioned level of maintenance. So this process involved interviewing property owners across the loop. We interviewed all of the, in addition to speaking, extensively with the city and working closely with them, we interviewed all of the sort of key property owners across the service area, all of which expressed interest in a more comprehensive maintenance strategy for the riverfronts. We estimated current care and maintenance costs, and we worked to determine the gap between current maintenance, the cost gap between current maintenance and an envisioned future. And we made recommendations around again, a financial instrument, essentially a fund for care and maintenance. So this research led to successfully, at the tail end of 2023, the creation of a care and maintenance fund. RiverLife secured an investment from an anonymous philanthropic partner to seed a permanent care and maintenance fund. Following the creation of that fund, the work became to sort of establish, well, what are the perceived maintenance gaps that we might be able to address across the loop with this fund. So we continued working closely with property owners and organizations that are already working in these spaces to establish what the current practices are and to determine what the perceived gaps are. So coming out of those conversations and through site visits and research, some of the gaps that were determined include managing invasives. And I should point out the extent to which these are maintenance gaps varies from segment to segment. So some segments are already, most of the segments are receiving some degree of care and maintenance. Like I said, it just varies from segment to segment. So a lot of this work is already being done throughout the loop, but there are gaps, as I said. So in some areas that means managing invasives. In some areas that's litter picking. A number of owners talked to us about the issue of goose poop and other just trail cleaning, essentially. Some people pointed out what they perceived as a lack of consistent eyes on the trail, sort of feeling like there's not a consistent on-site presence. On-water trash pickup was something that came up in a number of conversations. There was no one doing consistent on-water cleanups, and that's something the city doesn't really do. So we established that as a gap. And then coordination between property owners was something that came up in a number of conversations. There isn't really a easy mechanism or sort of consistent across the system, a way for property owners to communicate issues. And there's not, there maybe isn't like an established resource for that. So we determined these as sort of being the primary maintenance gaps, or at least as a starting point for what we think those gaps might be. Coming out of that, we thought, okay, so who are the service providers we can work with? Because RiverLife doesn't do this sort of work directly. We look to our partners who do this work and work with them to address these gaps. So that's the plan. We thought of some of those include Friends of the Riverfront, of course. Friends, as everyone here knows, already directly engaged in a lot of this work. So essentially, this fund will just increase their capacity within the loop. So in this area, they'll be able to increase their capacity even further to expand their service. Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership and their clean team. We're going to be working with them. Many of you, I'm sure probably all of you are familiar with their work downtown. So we are partnering with PDP essentially to bring their downtown services a little further up to the riverfront. So they'll be litter picking, weeding, power washing, and doing some graffiti removal downtown at Allegheny Riverfront Park. Ultimately, it'll actually be the lower and upper levels of Allegheny Riverfront Park, if you're familiar. They'll also be working with us at the Mon Wharf doing this work, and also extending to the on the other side of the convention center, the lower strip district. We are planning to work with Land Force. Many of you may be familiar with Land Force, a workforce development program that nonprofit that specializes in trail maintenance. So we plan to have a weekly crew with Land Force come out and sort of move across this service area as needed, doing cleaning of trail services, maintenance, managing invasives, also litter picking as well, sort of as needed, and other tasks that may come up throughout the year. And then we are also working with Allegheny Cleanways. And actually, this just kicked off last week. This is addressing that on water and sort of right on the riverbank trash pickup gap. So we're going to continue to work with them throughout the year on a routine system to pick up trash, sort of, like I said, that builds directly on the water or at certain problematic spaces where trash tends to get caught, and in areas where Cleanways have noticed that there's a significant trash buildup. So yeah, working closely with Allegheny Cleanways on that issue. And so I neglected to mention that we have named this program we're developing. We're not calling it just the River Life Care and Maintenance Program. We are calling it Upkeep. So this is Upkeep, and you can see the branding there. That is us out last week with Allegheny Cleanways, flying this brand new flag and scouting out locations for a trash pickup, which, like I said, started last week with Cleanways. So that was essentially the launch of the program, and we are rolling out our work with other service providers in the coming weeks and over the next month or two. And that's really it. So more than happy to answer any questions you may have. But this is a sort of a broad overview of our care and maintenance plans for River Life.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing all that. Does anyone have questions for River Life?
I do.
Oh, perfect.
No, yeah, no, I was also looking at the report that you guys most recently posted on your website as well. But when you were talking about earlier about the survey that or like, and you're talking about the owners, what percentage of the people, like, I guess, what percentage of people did you speak to were like individual property owners, like people versus like commercial ownership, or like, what is the proportions versus, because I know a lot of it's like, downtown has a big portion, and you have, but I'm not sure like where the ownership lies when you're in general, and then also when you're talking about who you surveyed for these data collections.
Yeah, so I do have some statistics I can pull up, which are just general, but have some more details in terms of percentages. Let me look. So to give a sense, there are 180 parcels within the loop. but ownership is concentrated among a handful of entities. The top 21 owners own 83% of parcels, and even that is a little misleading because the city has easements for a lot of that. So really, it's the city either owns or has easements for the significant majority of this service area. But in terms of the interview process, let's see, interviews covered property owners representing 51% of all acreage and 78% of all land value along the riverfront loop. But yeah, essentially spoke to all of the major property owners. Obviously, there's the city, but also, at the SEA, the URA, the Parking Authority, organizations like Buncher, who obviously own significant riverfront property, Oxford, who own riverfront property in the Strip District.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Just curious.
And then that's in addition to, like I said, talking to other organizations that aren't necessarily owners, but who are, actively engaged in these spaces.
With this maintenance program now, getting up and running, does River Life have a vision for the future of Pittsburgh's riverfronts around, downtown and the Point? I know I've been hearing about I can never remember what the name of it is, but the projects that's coming down further, as you go down the Ohio, but what does River Life see as the future of?
Oh, the Esplanade. Yeah. So great question. Yeah, we envision the future. So at River Life, we talk a lot about what we call completing the loop, which is essentially closing the gaps in that system. So there are, as I'm sure you may know, gaps in that loop where you can't access the riverfront, where the trail is interrupted in some way. So a big part of our mission is around closing those gaps, but also that involves not just closing the gaps, but as I was talking about earlier, achieving a higher level of improving the experience so that it's more consistent across the loop, so that it's not, Point State Park is really nice, but this other area is, it doesn't achieve that even close to that same level of experience. And, that's a long process, but that is essentially what we're working toward here. And we have a lot of projects that are aligned with that mission. We're working right now downtown on Allegheny Riverfront Park during restoration of that park. We have another project coming up on the other side of the river at Allegheny Landing, restoring that park. We're working around the West End Bridge, and which we see as one of the major gaps in that loop. And this program really, where this fits into that, is making sure that we're not only undertaking these projects, but that once we have restored a park or built a new park or whatever the case may be, we have an endowment in place that can ensure the continued care and maintenance of that park. So we're not just building things. We know we have a resource for properly maintaining those things after they're built, or for supporting the city to maintain those spaces as necessary.
You mind if I add, Pat?
Yeah.
The way the Completing the Loop report was organized is by giving each little segment a score. You saw those percentage scores on the grid. So if you want to see more specifically how we're measuring the quality of the experience on the trail in any particular area, you can go on our website, riverlifepgh.org, and see that whole report. It's very extensive, but you can get a pretty good overview with just a few minutes looking at it to see how we measure the quality of the experience, whether it's cleanliness and a sense of place. There's several different categories that we've broken it down by so that we can have a quantitative measure of improvement. And I think we're hoping to go back and measure the same way and see an improvement in places that, especially like around the West End Bridge, that have a lot of room for improvement.
Very cool. Thank you both for sharing. Does anyone else have questions for River Life before we move on to our next agenda point? Great. Okay. Pat and Crystal, there is a form, I believe last week, Kelsey, from Friends had worked through all of the seats that are still open on the commission and the where River Life would fall into that, and we still have that room. There is a form on the city's website that one of you will have to fill out. Amie, I don't have the link to that, but could maybe follow up after this meeting. We'll send it to
I
you.
can.
Perfect.
Yes, I'll send you guys the link. It's Engage, engage.pgh, but it's kind of buried. But I'll make sure you guys have direct link to the page where you will be able to fill out that form.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
And then it would be one of you that would fill it out, and then that person would be the one that would be like the official member on the commission for River Life.
Sure.
If you have questions, let us know. What we'll be getting into the next section with our like member reauthorization and updates. It can be like a lengthy process. It has to go through city council to get approved. There's an interview involved. Super easy. It just takes some time. So we'll keep you, Kelsey Ripa and Amie are pretty like well connected when approvals come through. So on our end too, we'll be able to give y'all an update. Just let us know once you're able to fill that form out.
Yeah, we'll do that right away, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, great. Thank you very much. So on that note, we'll go to the member updates. Amie, would you like to? Otherwise, I could just go through.
Yeah, well, we are specifically Aaron Tobin and Bindor, they submitted their forms, but we're like I also said, things take a little slow they're a little slow behind the scenes. And then I'm also going to double check, look through some of the legislation because it can be buried and things will go by without actually being emailed about. It was a little slide, but I have to go back and just double check to see if things have been put up for vote or whatever. And then also Barb Borwick emailed us and within the last week saying that she wanted to be a part of the commission. She is allowed to be a part of the commission as an ex officio member, and meaning she serves as representing her position as a council person, and if she were to leave that position as council person, she would also leave being a member here at the city Clean Pittsburgh Commission. So I don't, in my time being in the commission, I don't think we've had a council person be on the commission, so I'm still trying to navigate what all that means and talk to the right people. But it's she's allowed to be a member, but and vote and all sorts of things, but just trying to get more familiar with that process in general. Helena, your that is it for me, but Helena, your hand's up.
Oh, I just had some fun updates whenever you guys are ready for updates.
For communications and whatnot.
Well, that too, but that's later on the agenda. But just for like what things I've been working on for the city. So I just
Yeah. We'll get to you. We got you, girl.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Yeah. But yeah, no, as far as, and then once we receive, or once the applications are received from River Life, whoever will be applying, we'll be working internally with the mayor's office to make sure that gets from the mayor's office to the council and all sorts of things. So that's it for, unless Alyssa, you have anything else to add? Okay, yeah, I think that's it for our member reauthorization update. And next we have Finance Committee. Afton will, if you're uh, ready.
Sure. Give me 1 second to share my screen and my face. There we go. Mm. You guys see that? Yep. Okay. So there's not a whole lot of change this month. So we have the $3,000 request for cameras still. We're waiting for an actual hard quote for that one, which is why they're in purple. These are the things that are in purple are things that we're waiting for actual hard numbers from, but these are requests that have been made and tentatively at least discussed. The neighborhood hard to recycle vouchers from last year did come out of this year's budget, unfortunately. It was not properly encumbered. I'm not really quite sure why, but it wasn't. So that means that it has to come out of this year's budget, unfortunately. But that has been submitted for payment, and I've got approval that the check has been cut on the 20th of March. So we have the request from City Council for yard signage litter dumping awareness for Greenfield School. That's right now $2,000 request. We have the West End Crafton is our neighborhood of focus this year, and we're still putting together or still figuring out, exactly what we're going to need and how much we're going to put together for that. But there has been a request from the Parks Conservancy to do a litter cleanup in that area for $1,000. So that was discussed, excuse me, at our last finance meeting, to put $1,000 towards that. Let's see, and Allegheny Cleanways for cleanup and supplies, they made a request for $5,000, and all of these, the 5,000 and the 1,000 are under the neighborhood of focus. So once the team that's working on the neighborhood of focus, comes with a full request, we'll probably have a couple other line items that'll come under this as well. And for Garbage Olympics, so far we have $5,000 put towards that. That leads us with a total request for 21,000 so far outstanding, that we're sort of proposing. Of that 21,000, the only thing that we've actually spent is the $5,000, which went towards the vouchers. So that does give us, money. We have about $9,000 that we still have to plan for this year's budget. And I will just leave off by just reminding people that if there's any summer request, we'd like to try to get those in by our June meeting because we do take a little bit of a recess for the summer in order to get actual work done. So that would be great. And for the entire year, we're asking anybody to make the request by October so that we can make sure that everything gets submitted by and approved by our November meeting. So everything is submitted and completed by December, the beginning of December, when the books close for the city. That's it for me. Any questions?
I think maybe not well, this is a question. So thinking about voting for this, what we have is like hard, like official requests. I can say the 5,000 for Cleanways, that is going to be our official request.
Okay.
Do we want to vote? So since we're asking for folks to have the summer budget requests in by June, should we plan then to vote during that June meeting?
During June
Okay.
meeting. So we usually do our finance meetings on the second Tuesday of that month, which it's the Tuesday right before the CPC meeting. So that means that everybody has about a month to try to get their request into us And I mean, if you need to speak to Omo or me or anybody else, you can always, of course, email us. That's not a problem. But it definitely is helpful if you're making a request to come to our next finance meeting. I think I submitted it to everybody, and so that it's on your calendar, and you just hit the join Teams link from that. And it just helps us because then we can talk about it, we can ask questions and follow through so that when we bring it to the committee for the June meeting, we kind of have a better idea of what we're asking for and what we're talking about. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Aaron, too, I see, you have just so you know, I'm the one that let Afton know about that $1,000 for the parks. Since after we talked in the last neighborhood of focus meeting. So I know you didn't officially request that, but I did want to put that in there just so it's saved.
Thank you.
Yes.
I did want, sorry, I did
River-
want to say that Pat's hand is raised. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I missed it from the last, from any other area before we were speaking, or is it specifically to this? But go ahead, Pat.
Thanks so much. My question is about the neighborhoods of focus. Where do the requests come from? Is it from the community or is it from members of the commission? And why is it blank?
Oh, it's not blank. That's the heading for the things that are coming underneath it.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
All right.
So the
I'm just trying to
$1,000.
understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not blank. We haven't actually finished filling in the neighborhoods of focus. Because I think we have an actual committee that's meeting, sort of a side committee, a subcommittee that's meeting about
Yes.
the neighborhood of focus. So
Yeah,
far,
what's that?
we have $6,000.
Yeah.
Great.
I can review the neighborhood of focus in the next section to give you a brief overview of what that is, and we can talk more.
And do the requests come from the communities or is that from committee members, commission members?
So what is in here now is specifically from everyone has put requests in for the neighborhoods of focus are commission members. So the Parks Conservancy and Cleanways came from us. We are talking about potentially giving in the next chunk, our neighborhood of focus. One idea that came up was putting some money aside for members of the neighborhoods of focus to request supplies for some of the things that they are working on. We haven't done that in a while, so we still have to work out some of the kinks. But so far, this is specifically from commission members so far.
Thank you.
Debbie, I think I saw your hand up first.
I'm switching topics, so Helena, if you needed to piggyback off of this.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, if I have an idea, just make sure I wrote this down correctly, Afton. If I have an idea for commission money, submit that in by when, you said?
By the second Tuesday. So our meeting is at the Tuesday of the month. So it's the Tuesday that comes.
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
Right.
It typically is the Tuesday before the meeting.
It's the meeting that. Yes.
Okay. And how much money does the commission have available once all the items in purple are resolved?
So if all the items in purple are resolved right now, we have $9,000 left over.
Okay.
$30,000 total.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
But none of it except for 5,000 so far has been spent. This is all right now hypothetical spend.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll vote on it in June. That will make it official. The work and the invoices will be done. It's sent into Afton, and then the payments, excuse me, come after October. It's kind of like a reimbursable situation for some folks.
And I had a quick question. So I had been when we were chatting last meeting, I remembered that I think it was January guest speaker had mentioned in their presentation being interested in asking the CPC for financial support. So seeing that we do have some extra funds, is there, I don't know if that person was ever told the process for requesting or if that was just sort of an offhanded thing. So I'm just mentioning it now. I don't
Remind
know
me,
if
who
the
was the guest from January? I'm totally blanking right now.
Wasn't that the collaborative fellow?
you mean yeah,
Plastic
Plastic
Collaborative.
Collaborative.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. And I mean that was, 4 months ago now, but just wanted to throw that out there if there was
Moses. Yeah,
a
Moses from the
follow
Past
up with
Collaborative.
that or anything. So
Thanks for bringing that up, Debbie.
Yeah.
yeah, no problem.
Outside, as far as I know, outside of coming into one of our meetings like this, reaching out to the commission, coming into a meeting and requesting that, that's pretty much how like the formal request has been happening so far. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's it. So maybe we can do a little more to streamline that process and make sure everyone who is interested in requesting funds has that information on how to do it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know if there's an actual stream, like an actual written down process though, but mostly in the past, it's like, yeah, come speak to us. We talk about how the pitch and how it aligns to our goals. And then, we need to have, an actual invoice and then we can pay it, through an encumbrance or a P card. Um, but it's also things that they bring it up to the main meeting and we discuss it at finance and then maybe we vote at the next main meeting, so there's actual like real discussion happening about this. But yeah, that's pretty much how it's gone so far.
Yeah, because I asked because last meeting, uh, like Barbara Warwick had mentioned the yard side project, and that I guess she had already talked to y'all because that was in the budget like immediately. So then I just had remembered the like random ask that Moses had mentioned and did
Yeah.
not get added to the budget. So I just wanted to bring that up as something to make sure that gets at least thought about and see
No,
if it's something we do want to even fund. Yeah.
Thank you for that reminder. I think during January, we had all of our like new chairs just starting. And so we got off to a little bit of a start at the beginning of the year. So that didn't get put in right away. So thank you very much for the reminder.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll dig back in our agenda from that month to see if Moses put in a specific request. I'm not sure if he put a dollar amount to it. He might have just asked in general. Do you happen to know off the top of your head, Debbie?
Yeah, he said 2,000 for keeping workshops free. Yeah.
Perfect.
Is what I put in the notes. So there might be more details to that.
I mean,
we can reach back out to him again. And double check and see if he can join to finance committee, discuss the his ask further, and then we can go from there.
Cool. I know some things through the Plastics Collaborative has changed over the past few months as they continue to refine what their activities and their mission and what their objectives are. So that'd be good. Great to hear from them.
Great.
Any more finance related questions, comments, thoughts, feelings? Cool. Great. So similarly, this got brought up, but we'll move on to the neighborhoods of focus. We were able to meet again last month last month, sometime in April after our last April meeting. And what we, wasn't very many updates, but we did talk about starting to advertise for these resources. And we were talking about a flyer, and Helena, I had repeatedly meant to reach out to you and never did. As our outreach and communications guru about sharing these flyers, folks had come up with ideas of mailers and posting the flyers and going to neighborhood meetings. But let me show you what super basic, super simple flyer the Clean Pittsburgh Commission doesn't seem to have a whole lot as far as specifics with graphics and colors, so I kind of just based it off of our logo. Aaron was great and reached out to Jacob the from DPW to see if there was any requirements in terms of making flyers and advertising, and I didn't see any reply back yet. But this is what I've pulled up so far. Just has our logo, neighborhoods of focus, lists all the neighborhoods. In this middle chunk there is what is going to be available during those 2 years. I didn't include all of this stuff that there's obviously a lot more detail. It would have gotten to be super confusing in the flyer, so I just kept it pretty basic with the name of the organizations and then the Clean Pittsburgh Commission email at the bottom. That way folks can get more information directly. It'll be easier probably to talk more through email or in person or something, rather than
I can reach out to Jacob again about
Awesome.
advertising on our social media, and the existing contacts we have for those neighborhoods, because I know about Elliott, Sheridan. I don't think I have Craft. Maybe I do have Craft. I'll have to see. I think with enough poking and prodding, they eventually respond to my emails. But I did want to ask about for Anna's project for the camera surveillance program. I know that money quote is still in the works. You think we should advertise that? You think it'll be like available by the end, like cameras will be available by the end of the year?
So, Anna, yeah, go ahead, Anna. Sorry, for you.
Yeah, still working on the quote, but I don't want to add that quite yet, and we definitely shouldn't advertise the location.
Oh, for sure.
Once we have something more solid, I'm, happy to say this is something we're offering as part of our efforts for Neighborhood of Focus, but I don't want to add that yet until we have that sorted.
Perfect. Totally makes sense.
Yeah, can I just jump in
Erin,
real quick?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're ready to reach out to the neighborhoods of focus outside of, well, we reached out to the Marshall Shadeland folks. So I think we want to have another conversation with the larger group again, because I don't know that the Marshall Shadeland folks are very, very organized. There's already an existing group. And we had the Councilwoman Kale Smith, who was supposed to come to our last meeting and she wasn't able to make it. So I don't think we should reach out to the neighborhoods in her district until we talk. I'm trying to say, Helena. So what we were talking to Jacob about was flyers specifically, and like if there needs to be a specific template branding look to the flyer, like what logo, et cetera, et cetera. So I will reply to that thread and add you to it, but we're not ready to reach out to the West District 2 groups yet.
Apologies. I've just been so busy with other stuff I haven't been able to attend the Neighborhood of Focus meetings per se.
No worries. I just wanted to clarify that before you did that.
As far as I know, this current mayor does not care about branding, like, but we like everything that I make for the city of Pittsburgh, we just plop the city seal on it. But since we're a commission, I don't know if we need the seal or not. But yeah, that's something we can ask.
The commission has our own seal.
Oh, we do. Oh, well, there we go. Maybe we need our seal on it somewhere.
Okay. So Helena, I'll reply to that thread and add you to it, but just to like close the loop here, like let's not reach out to any other community groups for the time being. We want to circle back with the councilwoman before we do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So with Councilwoman Kale Smith, I see your hand up. Also, Pat, 1 second. I need to follow up with her. She actually gave us a full list of her connections or her community leaders in each of those neighborhoods. I am overdue to reply to the representative for Sheridan, I believe. That's the neighborhood I've been speaking with. I owe them a follow-up to meet with them. But But then she has connected us with both the Elliott and the Crafton Heights folks. We haven't heard back from them in the email chain, but we can continue to follow up and set up a meeting with both the councilwoman and each of these representatives as well, before we really start pushing it out there. This flyer, I don't think I'm not in a rush to get it out. I just wanted to start taking the steps to pull this together, show it to folks. We can make any adjustments as needed. And I know not all of these are things that people can request on. For example, if we do have the camera surveillance program, if it exists in these neighborhoods, it's not something that can be requested. It's not something that we're going to share where it is. That would defeat the whole purpose. But just knowing what is happening in these spaces, that was kind of the goal for us. I can say like dump sites, environmental education, people can reach out to us to request that. Friends also, they're taking some requests for certain work in Marshall Shadeland. Pennsylvania Resource, PRC, there isn't really requests for that. It's just going to happen and we'll let everyone know about it. So this isn't all things that people can request on. It's just letting folks know what is happening, and then they can follow up through email, through whatever makes sense, and get more information. Does that make sense? Okay. Pat, what do you guys have?
Hi, thanks. So I have two things. One, I live in Sheridan and am involved in a lot of those groups. So if you need any help or need a contact over there, I'm happy to assist in any way possible. And second, as far as cameras go, I don't know if there's a separate camera regulation or whatever, but when I was working at the Sheridan Healthy Active Living Center last year, immediately behind is a very common public dump site. And we were told by Councilwoman Smith that any camera requests have to come through public safety. So I don't know if you guys have a separate thing, but it was a big deal, and the residents there were asking for multiple years, can we please have camera surveillance? And we were told repeatedly that any request for cameras has to go through the capital budget and through public safety. And to my knowledge, after at least 4 years of requests, no cameras were allowed to be put up over there. So that might be more challenging than just saying, hey, can we put a camera?
I have not heard that, so that's good to know. Because Cleanways has been involved in some trail cams. We use trail cams, not official, like CCTV. So I don't know if that makes a difference. Emily Embray, who is a new member, she wasn't able to join this meeting, but she is with public safety, so I can touch base with her. I have a request for her her and I need to connect to talk more about the neighborhoods of focus and how public safety is going to be involved. So I can bring that up with her to see what she knows about it. Anna, have you heard anything about this as far as the dump site cameras?
Yeah, so if it is CCTV, that does have to be part of the city's system. I've spoken to the technology manager for public safety before, but in conversations with like the DPW side of things, if it's just trail cameras, which is what we're looking at here, due to the transient nature of dumping, it changes place a lot once a site is found out, it'll move places. So we did want to go the trail cam route because these CCTV cameras require light pole tap to use the power from light lamp posts. So I think for trail cameras we're good. But yes, if it was CCTV, that does have to be part of the city's public safety, like their whole camera network, is my understanding. There's also some regulations about security compliance with like cameras with parts made in the United States, and like some brands you can't use, which we've also kind of honed in on like what's acceptable and what's not. Actually talked to Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful, since they have that like large camera loan program, and Rob, who's in charge of that, actually like took apart a couple of their cameras to make sure all the parts were compliant. So we've have that pretty dialed in, but I think we're all good in that regard. But yeah, if it was something more long term, it would have to be part of the larger network of cameras throughout the city.
Thank you for that, Anna. Um, so with the neighborhoods of focus, so where we are now, we have this flyer. Know that this template exists. Maybe once I'm gonna stop sharing, go back to my notes here. Once we've had the chance to actually meet with some more neighborhoods of focus, Erin has started the email with Urban Trails, and we're just waiting for a few more folks to respond back with their availability. They're gonna kind of be our guinea pig as far as reaching out and like having these conversations, letting folks know what we're trying to put together and see from them directly what of these what of this would be useful, keeping in mind that we're working based off of the resources that are available with the members in this commission. So there is a limit to what folks can request as far as services and resources, because we are limited to what each of our organizations and city departments can provide. And then I'll also continue to follow up with Councilwoman Kale Smith's folks to meet with them. And Helena, I also remember you gave me an email list of folks that we can start following up with. And then maybe once we get a few meetings kind of under our belt, then we can start advertising these flyers and creating ways for folks to actually get more information and request what they can request. Helena, what do you got?
Yeah, I did see on the flyer you can add me also as recycling education if
Perfect.
neighborhoods want to have me at the community meetings. My list is ever growing. You know, I'm getting more contacts throughout the city because they're like, "Oh, wait, you exist?" I'm like, "Yeah, I exist." Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
great.
so yeah, definitely add me to the flyer there if they want me to speak, formally at their meetings. So
Thank
that's
you very much. I
yeah.
appreciate that. Cool. Awesome. So that's all I have for the neighborhoods of focus. Oh, I lied. One more thing. I briefly mentioned this when River Life folks were asking about funding requests. So what Erin had a great idea during our or after our last neighborhood of focus meeting that I brought to our financial committee meeting this week of looking into possibly getting a pool of our funding together for existing community groups to purchase supplies. Thinking about litter grabbers. I know a lot about litter grabbers now through Cleanways and how crazy expensive they can be sometimes. Cleanways currently has like a lending program where community groups can, borrow some litter grabbers for their cleanups, but it is nice to have supplies like that. Loppers, greening and litter cleanup related material just on hand and not have to go through a lending program if possible. So we haven't worked out all the possibilities of that yet. Afton and Amaye and I started chatting about that. There are obviously like some logistics and details that we need to figure out, but I'm hoping maybe by our June meeting we'll have a better idea of if or how that can work out. Amaye, were you going to say something?
Yeah, totally. I don't know if it's my connection, but it might be my connection's internet's not that great in my home. But we were able to get litter grabbers for um the garbage Olympics last year. You know, we have found some avenues in order to procure some services. No, some supplies. Sorry. So I'll make it that my mission to look back on some of the emails and documents that I have to see how we can most efficiently and cheaply procure some of these supplies for cleanups and neighborhoods to do what they need to do.
Very cool. Thank you. I for the folks that come to the Neighborhood of Focus meeting, how are we feeling about having a meeting before our June 1? I feel like there's a lot of behind the scenes details that kind of need to be worked out. But if we still want to get together, can I get like a yay or nay? Yes. Okay. I see two thumbs up, so I'm taking
Yay.
yes. Okay. Awesome. I will then follow up. I'm gonna say by tomorrow, but if I'm gonna be honest, it'll likely be next week with a doodle poll um for our next meeting before we break after June. Lovely. Great. That's all I have for the neighborhoods. Helena, would you like to update us on outreach?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's aware I'm officially working on the member updates on the on the website. So everyone that submitted in their forms are now updated. I have it on my Canva and I'm gonna plop those in and take the old ones down. There are 6 people, five and then Barb, that still need to send me their information. I guess I don't put Barb on the city website until she's like officially like. Also, Aaron, I don't think Aaron is still needs to be on the,
Agreed.
you know,
There's a couple
right?
of names.
Yeah. So there's a couple of people that I'll reach out to you specifically about, I'll send you the link again in case it's got lost in the emails of everything, to just send me information with the cute little headshot that you want people to see. So everyone that has sent me their stuff is complete, and so that should be done on the city website very shortly. So I got that done. So I didn't forget. I was like, wait a minute. Oh my. So that's that. Um, and yeah. So there we go. So bit by bit, we're doing it.
Thank you. I'm sure updating all that stuff and managing that website page cannot be
But
easy.
yeah, so because that was a step one is to get all the member updates and their bios complete, and then step two is wrangling the website by the head and updating it totally. So
Yeah.
that's, there we go. So bit by bit, well, we're doing that.
Let us know, Ami and I, when you get to the meeting notes and agenda. I'm pretty sure you have access to the
Yeah.
drive, but if you need help with that, let us know.
It's
Also
just
offering
like the
up
only stuff that I'll
additional.
need help with is any information that's before I came on of the
Hmm.
history, or if we just say there's a gap in time that we don't have any updates for those years. But no, like the website is easy to update. It's just finding time during the regular hours of everything to get things complete. So all's well.
Thank you
And
very
and thank
much.
you everyone for responding back to my emails as I, confirm what exactly you want on your bios. I don't want to, anyone to be left out. Okay, so there you go.
Thank you very much. Great. So the last thing I've got before just general member org updates is our next meetings and our summer break. So our bylaws say that we take off June and July. I had completely misunderstood that. I thought it was July and August. So I think what we were talking about is having our meeting in June. That'll be our last summer meeting. We can Bob Charlin has requested to speak, so he'll be our guest speaker. We can talk a bit more that week about Garbage Olympics and the rest of the funding requests in. So be sure, like Afton was saying, to get those in by that meeting. If you can come to the financial committee meeting that Tuesday before, that would be lovely. It's a lot easier. We don't have anything else to talk about except finances, so it's easier to kind of get into the details of what we need and what we're asking for. So then we'll have that meeting in June, and then we'll be off for July and August, and then we'll come back in September. So that is the plan. If there's any complications or questions, please let us know. Then we can just move into our member org updates. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to share? Helena.
Well, exciting news that I got greenlit to investigate uh, other outreach opportunities besides recycling. So hopefully legal in the city of Pittsburgh will allow me to collaborate with Contemporary Craft because there's not really a lot of there are programs in Pittsburgh that exist for teaching residents how to mend their clothes and upcycling and how to fix their materials and whatnot, but a lot of them require money and or recycling textiles does not exist, unfortunately. So hopefully with Contemporary Craft, they're willing to work with the city to have like some free workshops. So that way, if low income residents want to learn how to mend their clothes so their clothes don't go into the landfill, we're gonna hopefully partner with them. And so that's exciting. Because ultimately repurposing is better than recycling. So, because that's just a better step in the grand scheme of things. So I'm working on that to see if we can get a ball rolling with that organization to expand access to people that otherwise don't know about the programs and what I'm able to advertise regarding those programs, because I know Construction Junction has some sort of new thing that they're doing with teaching people how to fix broken furniture and electronics and whatnot. So we're just expanding
Repair
our
cafe.
what was that, Amye?
It was they're doing a repair cafe on the first
Yes.
Saturday of every month, and where someone can help you fix stuff. Yeah, like lamps, which I will probably do soon because I have a lamp that needs fixed. But yeah.
Yeah, so we're expanding our outreach, and if we're able to like highlight other organizations in the city if they're not like city affiliated. So we're navigating that space to because a lot of people it's worthwhile, and I think if anyone's going to do the outreach and let people know about it, it's probably me in the city. I don't know. But so that's that. And also I'll submit three ideas to the finance committee about the leftover money if because let's say we need to purchase uh, sewing materials for people, maybe like, but so far they're saying they're willing to just offer it free and do all the stuff. So we'll see. But I had three ideas that I could pitch to you guys, so I'll put that later on. But that's it for now. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you very much. Larson, what do you got?
On the PRC side, we have our second household hazardous waste city collection of the season happening this Saturday, down on Railroad Street where we usually do them. That one is totally maxed out, so I'm hoping we have a pretty good turnout of people. We're gonna hopefully have some more like volunteers this time, since it's a pretty big event. And then after that, on June 14th, we're going to have our second neighborhood e-waste collection that's going to be in the Hilltop. It's going to be the Hilltop Alliance. So amongst all the chemical collection madness this week, I'm trying to coordinate with District 3, and they've been really responsive, which is amazing. Um, and then the next two collections after that. So I know that like $5,000 check is like somewhere in the ether and we haven't received it yet, but we're planning on doing the last two neighborhood e-waste events of the year to be the Hill District and West End. Don't know which one for August or October. It'll be one of the two in whatever order. Um, and then we'll have three more household hazardous waste collections after this, one of them being a Friday collection for those who observe Shabbat. That will be in September. So yeah, I think, yeah, that's all for me.
Yeah. Anyone else like to share?
I'll speak briefly on the Garbage Olympics. We officially have chosen a date, September 13th. It's different than our usual um, third, I think it was like the third Saturday, We moved it to September 13th, but we've reached out to previous captains to give them a little bit of a head start. And as we move further in the planning process, we'll be releasing materials and advertising materials and all of that stuff related to the Garbage Olympics, and as well as when we'll be having our closing ceremony and all that good stuff. But yeah, mark your calendars, September 13th is when we will be having our, I think, ninth annual Garbage Olympics. And yeah, so that's it from me.
Awesome, thank you. I'm hoping to maybe participate this year in my new neighborhood, so we'll see. I'm excited to see how it all turns out. I haven't participated in a Garbage Olympics yet, so I'm excited.
Come join us.
Afton, I see your hands raised.
I just had a question. One of the council women, men, were wondering if we could bring back the Bob Awards. Is there any chance that we can align maybe an award ceremony, a greater award ceremony, along with the Garbage Olympics one in lieu of, or just or bring back the Bob Awards altogether?
I think Lisa and I had been speaking about this previously. We haven't really talked about it since, but perhaps like next year as we close out our neighborhood of focus, we can have something, potentially host something in one of those neighborhoods as a celebration of the work that we are, doing in the neighborhoods of focus, and also highlighting some of those outstanding members of Pittsburgh who are championing some of the cleanups and sorry, championing what the CBC stands for. So I don't know if we can, we have the capacity to do anything this year, but the what I have in my mind is having a Bob Awards associated with the closeout of our neighborhood of focus.
I like that idea. Very cool. Speaking for clean ways, we have our typical cleanups coming up throughout May. You will start to see our boats on the water as well. So far we have started doing some cleanups, like River Life folks were saying. We have been focusing on the loop right now so far, but we'll be starting to expand outside of Pittsburgh as well in the next coming weeks. We'll be starting to have community cleanups in June for folks who are interested in joining us on a Friday evening or Saturday morning. Also, it's a month away, but to start sharing about it now, we'll be having our fourth annual Tri-Trashalon tournament. It's not a tournament. Tri-Trashalon is happening in June. It's where folks will bike to a dump site location, clean up that dump site, then bike to our boats, go on a riverbank cleanup, and then bike to a campground where they were camp overnight, and then bike all the way back to our starting point. This year, I believe the plan is to start in Duquesne and bike to a cleanup down in Dead Man's Hollow, and then biking even further to our campground that I can't remember the name of right now. But if anybody's interested in joining that, registration is up or will be up soon. So definitely keep your eyes out for that, and please join us. Last call for any updates, thoughts, feelings anyone would like to share? Great. Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to end our May Clean Pittsburgh Commission meeting?
I'll motion.
Thank you very much. Can I get a second?
A second.
Awesome. Great. Then I hope the rest of you or everyone has a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next month.